Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video we've got a major trade to discuss between the LA Kings and the Winnipeg Jets. We'll go to all of that coming up right now. Hello and welcome back to another video here at the End-to-End Hockey Show. As I just mentioned, we have a huge trade that just went down between the LA Kings and the Winnipeg Jets. The trade is as follows. The LA Kings acquire Pierre Luc Dubois with an 8-year, $8.5 million extension from the Winnipeg Jets in exchange for Alex Iafallo, Gabriel Vilardi, Rasmus Kupari, and the Montreal Canadiens 2024 second-round pick. Now, we'll get to the LA Kings first. This is a major trade that significantly boosts the team's center depth. Right now, they could have Kopitar is their first-line center, Dubois is their second-line center, and Danault is their third-line center. For the next year or two, or however long Kopitar plays, that should be the way that the Kings run with it. Kopitar, Dubois, and Danault is 1, 2, 3. Then in a year or two, whenever Kopitar decides to call it quits and retires, you can have Dubois as your first-line center and Danault as your second-line center. And I think that's an enormously stacked center depth for the LA Kings. Now, there's been a lot of talk about what happens with Quinn Byfield. I think for now, he'll probably be on the wing. I know there's a lot of people who think that Byfield should develop as a center, but I think with their amount of center depth, I think for at least the next year or two while Kopitar is still playing with the LA Kings, I think Byfield will continue to develop as a solid top 6 winger. And then eventually, once Kopitar retires or moves on, and they have Dubois and Danault as their top 2 centers, maybe they put Byfield as their second-line center and keep Danault as their third-line center. I think that's a possibility, but I think for at least the next year or two while Kopitar is still playing, Byfield's most likely going to remain on the wing. But this is an amazing deal for them. Given the fact that the Winnipeg Jets were in a lose-lose situation, I'm surprised the Kings had to give up so much for Dubois, but it's a deal that definitely makes the team better. So I think this is a really good win for the Kings. It sounds like they may have to move out some more cap space because they still most likely would like to try and acquire a goaltender, whether it's via free agency or whether it's via trade. They're definitely going to have to move out some more salary, but this is a really good deal. Iafallo, Vilardi on the LA Kings are both third-line players. Kupari had only been in the bottom 6 at the NHL level for the Kings, so none of these guys have been really established top 6 wing players over the past year or two for the Kings, and now they get an established top 6 center in Dubois. So in my opinion, Kings definitely get a huge piece here. I thought the contract would have been at least over $9 million with the way things have been sounding, so the fact they were able to get him for $8.5 million I think is a huge win for the Kings, and I really do like this move for LA. So it definitely gives them another huge piece to use in their elite top 9, and I think this Kings team is poised to do some damage next year in the Pacific Division. I think they do still need to add like a starting goaltender, but the way this Kings team is going right now, it is definitely going to be dangerous in the Pacific Division. As for the Jets, I think they came out of this really well. For a lose-lose situation where they were most likely going to lose Dubois to whether Montreal or another team for a very little trade package, they actually came out of this deal quite well. For the Jets, their return, it was pretty huge. They got Alex Iafallo, who's a solid middle 6 winger. I know a couple of years ago, right around the trade line of the shortened season, there was a lot of talk that he could be moved. He wound up signing a 4-year deal with a $4 million AAV on his extension. It was a really good move for the LA Kings at the time, but since then they've added guys like Fiala and Arvidsson and Danault, and they've really improved that top 6, and Iafallo's barely been able to play more than third-line minutes. So in Winnipeg, with the amount of players they could be losing, with guys like Wheeler possibly also being on the move, Iafallo I could see being either on the second or third line. He should be a key middle 6 forward for the Jets and really should bolster that depth. He also can play center or left wing, so he's also very versatile in that opinion, and he's still got this year and next year on his contract. So I think this is a really good addition for Winnipeg. I don't think Iafallo is a bad forward in any way, shape, or form. I just think that with the Kings' tight cap situation and him being on the third line, he was a prime trade candidate for the Kings. Gabriel Vilardi, 11th overall pick back in 2017. It took a while for him to get developed with injuries and stuff like that, but last year he had a breakout season. He was able to score at a pretty high rate. He was able to put up some pretty good point totals, and he looked like he would be a really good top 9 piece of the Kings' future. Unfortunately, he gets dealt to the Winnipeg Jets, where I think he should definitely be a solid second-line player, whether it be center or wing. He's more of a center, but he can play the wing. I think Vilardi is going to fit in really well with Winnipeg. I think Vilardi could definitely be a future second-line center in Winnipeg. So I like that move by the Jets to add Vilardi. I think that's a really good, solid addition for the Jets. They also get Rasmus Kupari, who hasn't really established himself as a solid NHL forward. He's sort of been bouncing around between being a bottom 6 forward and a healthy scratch over the past couple of years in LA. He seems like he has the potential to be a solid, maybe third-line forward. And I think in time, if he can develop well over the next few years and get more of an opportunity, like a place with the Winnipeg Jets, I think he probably could definitely be a solid NHL third line forward. So I definitely like that addition for the Winnipeg Jets. I think he could, in time, definitely be a solid winger at the NHL level. And finally here, they also get the Montreal Canadiens 2024 second round pick. Now this pick, the Arizona Coyotes recently traded to the LA Kings in the Sean Durzi deal. So the Kings are able to use the second round pick that they used in the Sean Durzi deal to help acquire Pierre Luc Dubois, which I think is a really smart move. The Canadiens are most likely going to miss the playoffs next year. Maybe they're able to stun some people and make the playoffs, but most likely they will be a bottom 10 team again next year. And so that's going to be a pretty high second round pick in my opinion for the Jets. So all in all, they get a solid veteran forward in Iafallo who should help them in the middle six over the next couple of years. They get a solid young middle six center who I think in time could definitely be a second line center for the Jets. They get a solid young winger who I think in time could definitely be a third line forward for the Jets, and they get a solid, most likely top 16 pick in the second round of next year's draft. So all in all, this is an amazing package for the Winnipeg Jets. So I think it's a win for both teams. For the Kings, they're able to definitely improve that center depth and improve their top nine. Dubois is going to help that team for a long time, and I think eventually he should be the top line center in LA once Kopitar decides to retire or move on. For the Jets, what was supposed to be a lose-lose situation for them, they're able to get a solid veteran middle six forward, a good young middle six center, a good third line forward eventually, and a solid top-end second-round pick. So in my opinion, I do think that the Kings do win this deal, just given the fact that they were able to get Dubois, and that really does help them in their quest for making not only the Stanley Cup playoffs, but for going very far this year. And it should help them become a lot more competitive in that Pacific Division. But I think the Winnipeg Jets made off pretty well here. And I think they got three key players who can all step into the lineup if need be for next year. So, in my opinion, this is most likely, in my opinion, a win-win deal, given the fact that the Jets were not supposed to get very much for Dubois. They were able to get a pretty good package. So, I do give the slight edge to the Kings, but I definitely think the Jets made out well in this deal. So, definitely love to hear what you think down in the comments. Which team do you think wins this deal? Is it the LA Kings or is it the Winnipeg Jets? Definitely love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. But that's all for this video. Remember to like this video, and if you really liked it, remember to subscribe. I also do a blog talking about news, rumors, analysis, stuff like that. Definitely check that out. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. Also remember to stay tuned for tomorrow's live draft video at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Definitely check that out tomorrow. And I can't wait to see you guys all for the next video. See you guys soon.